Uh, so, I would like to talk about something which is probably far more down to earth. Of course, lots of very practical things were discussed. I'm not deriding that, but this is in relation to the practical observance of our Sanatana Vaidika Hindu Dharma. And since I have been asked to, because of the time constraint, I'll be skipping over some of the content of my slides. But on behalf of the Kanchi Kamakoti Shankaracharya Jagadguru Peetham, the Panchanga Sadas has been annually conducted. Our earlier records show that there was a very important Sadas conducted in 1877 CE, in which the Jagadguru Shankaracharya, in response to a debate which had come up in Tamil Nadu at that time, constituted a panel of scholars, and the panel gave the verdict that because even though we have lots of old Ganita Paddhatis like Surya Siddhanta and especially the Vakya Ganitam, which is very much prevalent in Tamil Nadu, as I will be talking about, but whatever calculations are up to date, which are true to the observed positions of the celestial bodies, those calculations are what should be followed for the observance of all anushtanas of our Sanatana Dharma. This was the verdict given by scholars back in 1877 itself, almost 150 years back. So, in continuation of that, every year we continue to conduct a Sadas in which because of the language situation, we mostly concentrate, and we are situated in Tamil Nadu, so we have participants regularly from Tamil and Telugu audiences, but we also have contact with the people here. In fact, I am staying at the house of a Panchagakarta of Ujjaini, and because we conducted a national Sadas in 2023, where we had almost 60 Panchagakartas participants from over 15 states of Bharat. And we address practical difficulties in relation to Panchanga with the view of protecting the practical observance of our Sanatana Dharma, because we encounter problems resulting from the difference in Ganitas, that is, people who continue to use old calculations based on Surya Siddhanta of 1,000 years ago, 1,500 years ago, and so on. And there are differences of those calculations from the true observable positions. The difficulty is from there, but also there are various traditions which are being followed in different areas. And of course, the issue of the seasons shifting because of precession. These are just a sample of the issues that we have been continuously encountering, and we publish documents such as when Grahana and such important occasions occur, how to do the Anushtana, what are the proper timings of doing Grahana Anushtana, and so on. So for all this, the proper understanding of both Prachina Bharatiya Ganita, Jyotir Ganita on one hand, and the Dharma Shastras on the other hand. One is entirely observable and physical, the Dharma Shastra aspect is entirely metaphysical, but we have to connect both in order to arrive at the practical days of observance on which day Ramanavami should be celebrated, Krishnashtami should be observed, and so on. So, in the next slide, I would like to talk about Vakya Ganitam. The next, I sort of skipped a couple of slides. Yes. So, the Vakya Ganitam is a Jyotir Ganita Paddhati which was evolved based on tables which were composed about 1,500 years ago. So, the manual which we have now called Vakya Karana, it has been updated somewhat. And it is dated to about 700 years ago, but the tables are much older. So, the tables which were composed about 1,500 years ago based on the observed orbits of the celestial bodies of those days were used, and the problem which we will be discussing is that they continue to be used even today. But the important advantage of this Vakya Karana is that this method, because it is based on linear interpolation from tables, it totally eliminates the usage of trigonometry, at least for the purpose of determining celestial longitudes. At what position in the zodiac is Surya, Chandra, Rahu, Ketu, Rahu and Kuja, the Panchagrahas and so on. It totally eliminates the requirement of trigonometry. So we should remember that in those days, they did not have calculators, they did not have computers. And but the requirement of Panchangas was entirely spread across Bharat. So each village, each small region needed to have a Panchanga who might not be entirely skilled in higher level mathematics, but they needed to create the Panchanga for their local community for the proper observation of observance of both the festivals as well as the offerings to the ancestors and so on, as we very well know. So the result of this simplicity, which was embedded into this text Vakya Ganitam, is that it became highly popular in Tamil Nadu, so much so that even today, even after we have a lot of people, even yesterday from ISRO and so many other our topmost scientific institutions are from Tamil Nadu. But in practical life in Tamil Nadu, people still continue to use outdated calculations. So obviously the project which landed the rovers on the moon did not use outdated calculations. It used utmost up-to-date calculations. But the practical observance of people of all our festivals, and including the government of Tamil Nadu also, which is going by the popular mandate, it is still following Vakya ganitam, which is the issue that we are trying to mainly address right now. The main problem is that it is outdated by 1,500 years. The next. And but one issue which is not only particular to Vakya ganitam but all our traditional paddhatis, such as even Surya Siddhanta, is that the length of the year, which is a very important basic constant that has important issues, effects in the panchagam ganitam, it was overestimated because it is not observable. It is not possible to directly observe the position, the longitude of the sun. It has to be inferred. So because of that, the length of the year was overestimated by about 8 vinadikas, or pal as they call here, and that translates into about 3.25 minutes. So the actual observed length of the year is 365 days, 115 nadikas and 23 vinadis, whereas in the old days it was 31 vinadis, and that older value continues to be used, and this accumulates here each year. Next. So because of this, what happens is that the start of the year, as per our traditional calculations, it lags behind. If you are going panchangas which are following the old ganitam, they lag behind the observed year by those 3.25 minutes each year. So by chance we happen to be near the crossover point, and the Mesha Sankramana, the entry of Surya into the Mesha Rashi, which marks the start of the solar year, and based on which the lunar Chaitra Masa is also determined. The time of that Mesha Sankramana is crossing over. As you can see, in 2028, 2 years from now, you will have the Vakya Sankramana. There are no 2 Sankramanas, but I am just saying the Sankramana as computed by Vakya ganitam. It will happen on April 13th, 2028 at 9:27 p.m. as per the old calculations, but as per observed truer modern calculations, it is 21:29, 2 minutes later. The next year, it is almost the same. That is the crossover point, 3:39 a.m. on April 14th in 2029. But the next year after that, in 2030 on April 14th, as per Driganitam, as updated calculations, the Mesha Sankramana is at 9:42, and Vakya Mesha Sankramana is after that. So this issue, what will happen is that the Vakya Sankramana goes later and later and later. So this error of 3.25 minutes will keep accumulating each year.